I wanted to talk to you guys about a very important piece of the configuration documentation. So during the course of this project, I had been working off of a master Google document, i.e. an Excel file, tracking our cable record and things of that nature. So I want to give you guys an overview of what that looks like. So let's take a look at it. So down on the bottom, you'll see the tabs associated with the project. And so each of these tabs have a specific purpose for the use that we're tracking. So we have down on the bottom the front of house input and output record. This is the original record before we did anything to the front of house console. So I tracked down our inputs over on the left hand side. So notes for inputs. Piano is in the IDR64. Slot and socket A1, and I'll have a video that specifically addresses what slot and socket is. But for now, this column B will be the, we'll call it the input 1 through 64 of the console. And then the outputs, these are known as the direct outs. The IDR64 has 32 options and what they're assigned for. And then our aux buses, we have 16 aux buses, mono aux buses, and 2 stereos that were not used in this configuration, and then the effects buses. And then any notes associated with those in our matrix, as you can see. So really try to do a good job of collecting the information on the front end to make the right moves on the back end. And then probably the most important thing in this document is the next tab over, the input and output record for as it sits today. And you'll see some very familiar things. In fact, all of this section over here is the same, but what is different is the input section here. So these 1 through 64s, there's been some pretty good changes with the introduction of the Dante network into this scenario. But what you can see here is the exact slot and socket count of how things connect up to the IDR64 or the amp rack in the back of the worship center here. And this is the exact way it works. Very important there. And as we start to understand what slot and socket means in the iLive overview video that I will do for you guys, or depending on the order you're watching, that you can go look at this, and that will hopefully be a light bulb moment for you, because then that opens up to the world of how to assign the resources, where you're not fixed in this environment where everything's ambiguous. So moving along here, this is the broadcast console. This was the original input-output record. This is no longer needed or in service, you could say, and you can see that it says remove down there on the tab. And then this is the Ableton channels, 1 through 64, of how they come into Ableton Live, our broadcast mixing template. And I would say that right now this exactly mirrors this right here. So what you need to understand is the Dante assignment. So we'll just jump back to this tab here. Network info, just some running dialogue on the how behind the scenes for how the Ethernet switching works. Task lists that we done, those can be removed. Those are irrelevant at this stage in the game. And then the Dante assignments, very important here. The Dante assignments, this is how we send them out of the console. So these are from the master scenes 1 through 64 there. And when I say master scenes, I'm referencing the contemporary and the traditional master scenes, scene 001 and 002 on the iLive console. And then the Dante inputs for the virtual playback scene. All right, and this is 1 through 64. And that would be scene number 10 or 010. And that was the one that I'm encouraging you guys to then copy that to your own scene as you go use virtual playback with the tracks we record from the weekends. All right, I think that about does it for this document. This is some really good information of kind of what we've purchased and some specs on it down in the items to purchase area. And just good information to go back to if you're troubleshooting either, like for example, the Waves plugin bundle. Let's say the computer gets wiped off of the face of the earth and nobody knows for whatever reason what Waves plugins we're using. Well, there's the list right there. There's all the plugins. Here's the broadcast template, where we purchased it, usernames and passwords associated with it, etc., etc. So we really try to do a good job of collecting all that information and making that available in one central place for you. All right, thank you.